Welcome to Learn Yourself. Today we are going to learn and understand questions from the final exercise. This final exercise is under CBSE Standard 9 syllabus from the chapter 11. So first question is, there are series of situations and we have to find out that in each and every particular situation whether there is a work done or not. So let us revise our work done concept. When we can say that work is done. So there are two conditions for work to be done. First, that force should be applicable to the line of an action. So wherever the force is there, there should be a displacement. So displacement is the second condition, and the direction of the force and direction of the displacement should be similar. Then only the work done is positive. If the direction and the force both are there and both are opposite to each other, then work done is negative. And if any of this, either of this or both of this is zero, then the work done is zero. So based on these two conditions, we are going to identify that whether work done is there in this situation or not. So first one is, Suma is swimming in a pond. When she is swimming, she is pushing the water from the hand and she is going forward. So she is applying the force also. The force is applied and displacement is also there because she is going forward, she is moving forward while swimming. So both the condition is satisfied here. So force is acting in the forward direction and displacement is also there in the forward direction. So here work is done by the Suma while she is swimming. A donkey is carrying a load on its back. So now when donkey is carrying a load, that donkey is applying a force and carrying a load that is into the upward direction. That will be into the upward direction. While the displacement, because donkey will move forward, so that is into the horizontal direction. So here both of this direction, this is upward direction and this is horizontal direction. So they both are perpendicular to each other. So that's why the work done is zero in this case. So we can say that in second situation that force is perpendicular to the displacement, that's why work done is zero here. Then third one is, a windmill is lifting the water from the well. So yes, windmill is moving and it is applying the force. So force is applied over here and displacement is also there. So that's why work done is there through the windmill. Our fourth question is, a green plant is carrying photosynthesis. Now when photosynthesis is happening, the solar energy is converting into the chemical energy and the plant is making its food. But here both of this condition is not satisfied because there is no force applied and there is no displacement of the object. So both of this condition is not satisfying here. So that's why there is no work done when plant is carrying a photosynthesis. Next is, an engine is pulling a train. While engine is pulling a train, engine is applying a force. So force is there and displacement is also there. In forward direction there is a displacement. So the work done is there when engine is pulling a train. Food grains are getting dried into the sun. When food grains are getting dried into the sun, due to the solar energy, the water, the moisture remain into the food grain will evaporate. Now here there is no force acting on that and there is no displacement. Both of this condition is not satisfied here, so that's why there is no work done in this case. Next is, sailboat is moving due to the wind energy. When sailboat is moving due to wind energy is applying force on the sailboat. So force is applied on the sailboat and the movement of the sailboat is there in the direction of the force. So there is a displacement. So that's why the work done is there in this case because there is a force acting on the sailboat and there is a displacement in the direction of the force. So that's why work done is there. Second question is, an object thrown at a certain angle to the ground moves in a curved path and falls back to the ground. So this is the situation where we are throwing one object. It goes on to a curved path and falling on the same line like this. The initial and the final points of the path of the object lie on the same horizontal line. Suppose we have started or we have threw an object from here, then it falls back here. This final and initial points are lying on the same horizontal line. What is the work done by the force of gravity on this object? So we have to calculate work done based on the force of gravity. Now first of all, force of gravity is acting towards downward. Here is the gravitational force. So force of gravity is acting towards downward and the object is moving, that is horizontally. So this gravity and displacement, movement is also a displacement. So force is towards downwards where displacement is horizontal. So as you can see, they both are perpendicular to each other. When the situation like this will arise, when force is perpendicular to the motion and force is perpendicular to the displacement, then in that case work done is zero. So since here displacement and the force of gravity, they both are perpendicular to each other, 90 degrees to each other, so that's why work done here is zero. Third question is, a battery lights a bulb. Describe the energy changes involved in the process. Within the electrical cell of the battery, the chemical energy changes into electrical energy. So when a battery lights a bulb, we have to describe the energy changes involved in the process. So first, chemical energy is changing into, which is remaining into the cell. This chemical energy will convert into electrical energy. This electrical energy will light a bulb. When the bulb will glow, this electrical energy will convert in the form of light energy, and some of the electrical energy will also convert into heat energy. We often see that when our bulb is glow for a longer period of time, it will become warm, and sometimes if it is for a longer period of time, the surface of the bulb will become hot. So some of the electrical energy will also convert into heat energy. So this electrical energy will convert into light energy plus heat energy. Our fourth question is, certain force acting on a 20 kg mass changes its velocity from 5 meter per second to 2 meter per second. Calculate the work done by the force. So here we have to find out that this much change is there into the velocity. So we have to find out how much work is done when object will change its velocity from this to this. So this is initial velocity and this is final velocity. The initial velocity is more compared to final velocity. So the object is reducing its velocity. So here when we are finding out a kinetic energy, we are going to use this equation, that 1/2 mv square. When we are going to find out the kinetic energy for the initial situation, we are going to replace this v with u, because here initial velocity is 5 meter per second and final velocity is 2 meter per second. So in this equation, first we are going to replace this u. So kinetic energy for the initial situation, that is going to be 1/2 mu square. So 1/2, and the mass is 20 kg. 20 into u is 5. So 5 square, we will get here 25. 2 tens are 20. So we will get here 250 joule. And this much is the initial kinetic energy. This much is initial kinetic energy. Same way we are going to find out for the final situation. That is going to be kinetic energy for the final situation, and here it is 1/2 mv square. So 1/2 m is 20 kg and v is going to be 2 square. So here 2 tens are 20. 10 into 4 will give us 40 joule. So final energy is 20 joule. Now how much work has been done? If we want to see that, then how much energy has been utilized in this situation, that much work has been done. So we need to find out here energy difference, and that will give us how much energy has been used and how much work done is there for this situation, because always work done equals to energy usage. So here we are going to subtract this two and we will get that how much energy usage is there. KE in final situation minus KE in initial situation. So here 40 minus 250. So this will give us 210 joule, but this is negative. So our answer is going to be negative, that this much joule energy has been used in this process and work done is negative. Since this is energy, we are going to write this 210, but the work done is going to be negative. The fifth question is, a mass of 10 kg is at point A. On the table, it is moved to point B if the line joining A and B is horizontal. So for example, on the table there is a line that is A and B. This is line A and B, and it has a mass 10 kg. This object has a mass 10 kg. And it is moving in a horizontal line from point A to point B. If the line joining A and B is horizontal, what is the work done on the object by gravitational force? Now gravitational force will act towards downward. This is the direction of the gravitational force. Now object is moving from A to B. So this is the direction of the displacement, that it is moving horizontally. So this is the direction of the displacement. Gravitational force is acting towards downward. So both are perpendicular to each other, like this. This is a displacement and this is the gravitational force. Both are perpendicular to each other. So in this case, work done is 0. Our sixth question is, the potential energy of a freely falling object decreases progressively. Does this violate a law of conservation of energy? Why? Let us first understand the mechanism of freely falling body. For example, this ball is falling from a certain height. It has started falling towards downward and it has reached till the ground. Now when it is at the top, its potential energy is maximum and its kinetic energy is minimum at this level, because it is at the resting position, and whatever potential energy it has achieved, that is due to this height. When we have taken this ball and kept at this position, we have done some work on that, and due to that this ball has gained some energy, and this energy is due to its position. So that is potential energy. Now at this point the potential energy is maximum and kinetic energy is minimum. Now when it's starting to fall, its potential energy is starting to convert into kinetic energy, and as it is coming down, almost all the potential energy will convert into kinetic energy. So here potential energy, when it is reaching till the ground and when it is reaching at the bottom, the potential energy will be minimum and kinetic energy will be maximum. So its velocity will increase throughout this journey, because all the potential energy is converting into kinetic energy. But throughout this journey, the potential energy and the kinetic energies addition and the sum will remain constant, and that is equal to mechanical energy. That when both of them will be together, that is equal to mechanical energy. So nowhere at the point there will be a loss of energy. There is no loss of energy. Whatever potential energy was there, it has been converted into kinetic energy. So throughout this journey, there is no loss of the energy. So it is not violating a law of conservation of energy. Energy is conserved. Energy is just transferring from one form to another form. The total energy is remaining constant. And that we can say that at any point of time, the total energy equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy equals to mechanical energy. So at each and every point, we can see there is a difference in potential energy and kinetic energy. But the addition of them will remain constant throughout this journey. So in this situation, there is no violation of law of conservation of energy. Question 7. What are the various energy transformations that occur when you are riding a bicycle? So first of all, when we are riding a bicycle, which kind of energy we require? That is muscular energy. So from where we are getting this muscular energy? Whatever food we are getting, that food will convert into glucose. Glucose will burn into cell, and those cells will provide muscular energy. Through that muscular energy, we are paddling a cycle. And that muscular energy is converting into mechanical energy because we are doing work on the cycle. So that is conversion of chemical energy to mechanical energy. So here our body will convert carbohydrates into glucose. The glucose will burn in cell and give energy to muscles. So here the chemical energy changes into muscular energy. This muscular energy we are using into paddling. So again, muscular energy is converting into mechanical energy. So there are two conversion here, chemical energy to muscular energy and muscular energy to mechanical energy. Our eighth question is, does the transfer of energy take place when you push a huge rock with all your might and fail to move it? Where is the energy you spend going? So whenever we are applying force, whenever we are applying energy to any particular object, but there is no displacement, then there is no work done. Because if the rock is a huge or the object is heavier, then its resting inertia is also going to be more. Because resting inertia and inertia is depending upon the mass. Heavier the mass, more is the inertia. So rock's inertia, that is resting inertia, is more. So whatever energy you are applying, that is not overcoming the resting inertia. If it would, then the rock has been moved. But here whatever we are supplying the energy in terms of force, it is not overcoming the resting position, resting inertia of the object. So it cannot move the rock. So energy has not transferred because the rock has not moved and there is no displacement. So we can also say there is no work done in this case. Whatever energy we have applied is less than the rock's resting inertia. Since that cannot overcome the resting inertia, there is no displacement, there is no work done, and we cannot see that the energy has been transferred. Our ninth question is, a certain household has consumed 250 units of energy during a month. So in a month, 250 units has been consumed. How much energy is this in a joule? So what is unit? Unit is kilowatt into hour. So unit is a commercial unit of kilowatt hour. Here this much kilowatt hour has been utilized in full month. This we have to convert into joule because they are asking us to find out energy consumption in joule. So what is a conversion factor of kilowatt to watt and joule? So 1 kilowatt hour equals to 1000 watt, and this is in hour. So we need to convert this into second. So hour to second conversion is 3600 second. So when we are converting this, so combinedly it is 3600 and this combining here. So it is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. This much joule. So watt into second is also a joule. So 1 kilowatt is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So this much kilowatt hour is there. So we can convert this into joule. So this is conversion factor. So this we are using for our example. Now we have here 250 units or 250 kilowatt hour. So we can multiply this conversion factor with that is 3.6 into 10 raised to 6. So once we will solve this much energy consumption we will get it in joule. So it is 9 into 10 raised to 8 joule. So this much energy consumption is there for a month. Our 10th question is, an object of mass 40 kg is raised to a height of 5 meter above the ground. What is its potential energy? If the object is allowed to fall, find its kinetic energy when it is halfway down. So first we have to find out the potential energy, then we have to find out the kinetic energy when it is at the halfway. So first let us find out the potential energy. We know that potential energy equals to m into g into h. Mass they have given is 40 kg. G we are taking here is 10 and height is 5 meter. So once we are multiply this will give us 400. 400 into 5 we will get 2000 joule. So this much potential energy will be there with that object. Now we have to find out the kinetic energy when it is halfway. Suppose object is falling from 5 meter height and it is touching the ground. Now at halfway what will be its kinetic energy? So total height is 5 meter, so halfway it is 2.5 meter. So for kinetic energy we know the distance, we know the mass. So first we have to find out its velocity. So here when it is starting from its resting position, its initial velocity will be 0. So here we have to find out its final velocity, that how much its speed will be there when it will reach at 2.5 meter, because this total height is 5 meter, halfway means 2.5 meter. So let us first find out its velocity when it is reaching at this point, its final velocity, and from there and from this velocity we are going to find out the kinetic energy. So here initial velocity is 0, final velocity we will find out, and from the final velocity we are going to find out the kinetic energy for the object. So we know that v square minus u square equals to 2as. V square we want to find out, u square we know that it is 0, equals to 2 into acceleration due to gravity is 10 and distance is 2.5. Now v square equals to 2 into 10, 20 into 2.5. So it will give us 50 meter per second. Now this much v square we will get from this equation. Now kinetic energy, that is Ke equals to 1/2 mv square. So this v square we are going to substitute here. So we will get here 1/2 into mass is 40 and into 50. So answer we will get is 1000 joule. So this much kinetic energy will be there with the object when it is halfway. So continuously potential energy is converting into kinetic energy. So when it will reach till the ground, its potential energy will be minimum and kinetic energy will be maximum. So here our two answer is potential energy is 2000 and kinetic energy is 1000 joule. Our 11th question is, What is the work done by the force of gravity on satellite moving around the earth? Justify your answer. So first thing, this is the earth and this is our satellite. It is revolving around the earth. Its motion is circular motion. So whatever force the satellite is experiencing is towards downward, is towards earth at each and every position. For example, this is the path where it is moving and revolving around the earth. So at each and every position, satellite will experiencing a gravitational force towards the earth, and that is towards downward. But when it is taking around the earth, then its displacement is towards tangent, is along the tangent, because this is a circular motion and displacement is along the tangent. So these two, that applied force and the displacement, they both are perpendicular to each other. So that's why there is no work done in this case. So this is how we will write our answer, that satellite experiencing or experiences a gravitational force towards downward, whereas the displacement of satellite is along the tangent in circular motion. So the force and displacement are perpendicular to each other. They are at 90 degree to each other, and that's why there is no work done in this case. Our 12th question. Can there be displacement of an object in the absence of any force acting on it? So here they are asking that, is there any displacement possible if there is no force? Discuss this question with your friends and teachers. So without force, if displacement is possible anywhere, then it can be in the space in absence of gravity. But here on the earth, if there is a displacement, then there has to be a force. Without force, the displacement is not possible, because to move an object, to displace an object, we required certain kind of force. Without force, it will not happen automatically, or it will not happen by itself. So if there is a displacement and that is on the earth, then force is the necessary condition. Our 13th question. A person holds a bundle of hay over his head for 30 minutes and gets tired. Has he done some work or not? Justify your answer. Now for this chapter, we have two conditions for work done. First one, there has to be some force associated to that, and second one, there has to be some displacement in the direction of the force, so that the object will move in the direction of the force applied. So these are two necessary conditions to check whether the work has done or not. So here, yes, person is applying force because he is lifting this bundle of hay for 30 minutes, but he is not moving. So in this case, there is no displacement. So as per our concept, force associated with this situation, but there is no displacement. So there is no work done in this situation. Our 14th question is, an electric heater is rated 1500 watt. How much energy does it use in 10 hours? Now our energy's commercial unit is unit. That means it is kilowatt hour. So first, this watt we have to convert it into kilowatt. This much watt it is using, so it is 1500 watt. Now this we have to convert it into kilowatt. So 1 kilowatt equals to 1000 watt. We have here 1500 watt. So this is going to be 1500 divided by 1000. So this will convert into kilowatt. So it is going to be 1.5 kilowatt. So this we are going to use it in our calculation. We know the formula, that power equals to energy divided by time. So here we have to find out energy consumption. So energy equals to power into time. So power we know that is 1.5 kilowatt into time is 10 hour. So it is going to be 15 divided by 10 into 10. So this 10, two tens we can cancel it out, and our answer is 15 into hour or 15 units. So this is energy consumption and this is our answer, that it is using 15 units in 10 hours. Our 15th question is, illustrate the law of conservation of energy by discussing the energy changes which occur when we draw a pendulum bob to one side and allow it to oscillate. Why does the bob eventually come to rest? What happens to its energy eventually? Is it a violation of the law of conservation of energy? Let us first understand that how pendulum bob works. So this is a pendulum, and once we are taking it towards the right side, this is a right side, this is a left side. So once I am pulling this pendulum bob towards the right side, and from here I am leaving it into the air. So what will happen? How much I have pulled towards the right side from its mean position, that much it will go towards the left side. So this will be a complete oscillation once it will come back to the right side. So here I am pulling it. So when I am pulling this pendulum bob, I am doing work on that. So that work has been stored in this in terms of potential energy. So when I am pulling this pendulum bob over here, I have done some work on that, and that work has been stored on this in terms of P. So now this pendulum bob has some potential energy. Now that energy it is going to use and go till the extremes towards left hand side, and again it will come back, because in moving this direction, in moving towards left hand side, it got some momentum, it got some kinetic energy, and that it is using while coming back. So whatever work I have done so that potential energy has been restored, that is converting in kinetic energy throughout this journey. Again when it comes here, its kinetic energy will be zero because it has reached here till the extreme. So here kinetic energy will be zero, but due to its position that it has reached till this extreme end, its complete kinetic energy has converted again into potential energy. Now all the energy has been stored in this pendulum bob in terms of potential energy. That energy it is again going to use while going back from left side to right side. Now this will happen continuously. That potential energy, once it will go to the extreme, it has maximum potential energy. While traveling, the whole potential energy is converting into kinetic energy eventually. Again it comes at the extreme and its kinetic energy will be low and zero, and it will gain some potential energy. That again it is using up while going back and while go to other extreme, either right side or left side. So this will happen continuously. So here there is no energy loss, only energy conversion is there from one form to another form, from potential energy to kinetic energy. Yes, eventually, yes, this pendulum bob will become slow, and after some time it will stop, because while moving from left side to right side and right side to left side, it has to face friction of the air. That is a friction force, and that is of the air. And some of its energy is also used up to overcome this friction force. Eventually this energy is getting lower and lower, potential and kinetic energy will get lower and lower, and this friction of the air will be maximum. And when this friction of the air and this friction force will be maximum and it will overcome its potential and kinetic energy. At that moment the pendulum will come to rest. So here there is no violation of the energy conservation law. Only thing that energy is transforming from one form to another form, and due to the friction of the air it will come to the rest. Our 16th question is, an object of mass m is moving with a constant velocity v. How much work should be done on the object in order to bring the object to rest? So first of all, we have to check its energy, that how much energy it is possessing. Once we will get to know that this much energy it is possessing, that much work we have to do on that. So then only those energy we can use up into the work and object will come to rest. Now object's mass is m, its velocity is v, and it is moving. That means it is possessing some of the kinetic energy. Now object which is moving will always have kinetic energy equals to 1/2 mv square, because this is the formula of kinetic energy. Now our object is having mass m and velocity v. That means this much kinetic energy it is possessing. Now how much work we need to do on that to bring this object in resting position, that how much energy is there, that much work has to be done on that. So energy used equals to work done. So if this much energy is there, then this much work we have to do. Then all the energy will use to do a work, and then object will eventually come to rest. So this much work need to be done on this object. Our 17th question is, calculate the work required to be done to stop a car of 1500 kg moving at a velocity of 60 km per hour. We have to find out how much work we need to do to stop this car. Now energy equals to work done. How much energy that object is possessing. If that much work we are doing, then that object will come to rest. It will stop and we can utilize its complete energy. So it will come to a resting position. So energy equals to work done. So for that we have to find out the energy. Now here, to stop a car, that means this car is moving. So any object which is moving possessing a kinetic energy. So we have to find out a kinetic energy of this car. So let us write what all things we have. So mass equals to 1500 kg has been given to us. Then velocity. Velocity is 60 km per hour. Now velocity we are using in the equation of kinetic energy, that is 1/2 mv square. This formula we are using and we are going to find out the kinetic energy. But here the v has to be in meter per second, which is in kilometer per hour. So we have to convert this into meter per second. Now kilometer, when we are converting into meter, we are going to multiply with 1000. So 60 into 1000 divided by hour is there. That we are going to convert it into second. So we have to divide it with 3600. Hour to minute is 60 and minute to second is again 60. So 60 into 60 is 3600. Now once we will solve this, so 0, 0, 2 zeros we are cancelling out with 1 0 here and 1 0 here. 6, 6 are 36. Again we got 6 here. So we will get here 3, and here with 2 we can write here 50. So 50 divided by 3 we got here. 50 divided by 3 meter per second. So that we are going to use it in our formula. So here 1/2 into m is 1500 kg into we got 50 divided by 3 and that to square. So we can write this like 1 into 1500 into 50 into 50, because that is into square, divided by 2 into 3 into 3. Now 2 is there, so 2 25s are 50. Now 3 is there, so we can divide this with 5 and this 2 zeros. So 3 500s are 1500. So now we are getting here 500 into 50 into 25 divided by, we will get 3. Once 25 we are dividing with 3, we will get here 8.33. So once we are multiplying this 500 into 50 into 8.33, we will get 20,825. Now this much is kinetic energy. This much joule kinetic energy this car is possessing. If we need to bring this car to resting position, then we need to do this much work, because energy equals to work done. So we have to do 20,825 joule work on this car. Our 18th question is, each of the following force A, F is acting on an object of mass m. So this is a force which is acting on this objects which is having mass m. The direction of the displacement is from west to east. So from this side to this side. So that is the displacement shown by a longer arrow. So this is our displacement. This is displacement. This is displacement. This is also a displacement, and this is also a displacement, and these are three different cases. Observe the diagrams carefully and state whether the work done by force is negative, positive or zero. So these three are basic conditions that we have to check that whether work done is there in particular condition or not. So this is our first condition, this is second, and this is a third condition. Now here we are going to check in which direction the force is there and in which direction the displacement is there. So here the force is acting towards upward, whereas displacement is towards from west to east. So direction of the displacement is horizontal, whereas force is acting upward. So they both are perpendicular to each other. So that's why in this first situation, the work done is zero, because they both are perpendicular to each other. So here work done is zero because they both are at the 90 degree to each other. Now in second situation, force is acting in the direction of the displacement. In which direction we are applying a force? In that direction only the displacement is there. So that means the force is in the direction of the displacement. So in this case, work done is positive, because force and displacement, both direction are same. So that's why work done is positive. Now here, force is acting towards the opposite direction and displacement is towards the opposite direction. So here work done is negative because force is not in the direction of the displacement, it is in opposite direction of the displacement. So here work done is negative. Our 19th question is, Sony says that the acceleration in an object could be zero even when several forces are acting on it. Do you agree with her? Why? Now when several or many forces are acting on one particular object and when they cancel out each other's effect, in that particular situation the acceleration could be zero. So this we can explain it like this, that when many forces will acting on an object and will cancel out each other's effect. So the net force effect will be zero in this case. In that situation, the acceleration of an object can be zero. So yes, acceleration in an object can be zero when net force is zero. So the condition is net force has to be 0. In that case, acceleration can be 0. But when several forces are acting on an object, they should cancel out each other's effect. So, no force acting on that object. As a result, the acceleration will be 0. Our 20th question is, find the energy in kilowatt hour consumed in 10 hours by 4 devices of power 500 watt each. So here time is 10 hours and power each device is using is 500 watt. So P equals to 500 watt they are using. Now we have to find out energy consumption. So we know that formula is P equals to energy divided by time. We have to find out the energy. We know the power. Here power is 500 watt, that we have to convert it into kilowatt. So 1 kilowatt equals to 1000 watt. Now we have 500 watt. So here we have to divide. So 500 watt divided by 1000. So we will get here 0.5 kilowatt. Now this much power is being used for one device. So here we are going to write 0.5 equals to energy divided by time they have given is 10. So energy equals to 0.5 into 10. So we will get here 5 kilowatt hour or 5 unit. This much energy consumption is there for one device. This much is for one device. Now how many devices are there? 4 devices are there. So we need to multiply this one device consumption with 4. So 4 into 5 units. So we will get here 20 units energy consumption for 4 units. Our 21st question is, a freely falling object eventually stops on reaching on the ground. What happens to its kinetic energy? So when any object we are dropping, that is under gravitational force only, and that is known as freely falling object, which is under no influence of external unbalanced force. So that kinetic energy will convert into heat and light energy, because as per the law of conservation of energy, energy cannot be destroyed and energy cannot be lost. So here energy, whatever this object is possessing, its kinetic energy is converting into heat and light energy. So hope this video has solved your doubt. In coming videos we are going to learn some more important concept. So don't forget to subscribe, learn yourself. I'll see you in next video. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing.